This is not us. This opinion examines how media practices and societal denial shape responses to gender-based violence in Pakistan. Whenever a gender-based violence incident gains traction on social media, I try to follow as much mainstream media as possible to see how they covered it. Gender-based violence is a term referring to acts of harm committed against individuals based on their gender. Gains traction is an idiomatic expression meaning to start receiving attention or momentum. Mainstream media is a jargon term for established news outlets with wide audiences. This opening sentence serves as the thesis statement by introducing the subject. The authors attempt to compare media coverage of GBV cases. GBV is so prevalent in Pakistan that we've become numb to it, like we have about so many other issues, so that it doesn't get the attention it deserves. This sentence explains that widespread violence leads to public desensitization, reducing outcry. This is the cruel nature of the media cycle. Media cycle is a term referring to the pattern of news reporting and public attention over time. This sentence suggests that news moves on quickly, often before deeper issues are addressed. It has worsened since the demise of the professional editor in charge of agendas. Demise here means the end or loss of leadership, not literal death. Editor in charge of agendas refers to a senior editorial role responsible for setting coverage priorities. This sentence argues that the loss of a guiding editorial figure has degraded news quality. Now, media owners make decisions about what can and shouldn't be aired. Aired is a verb meaning broadcast on television or radio. This sentence criticizes owner-driven censorship over editorial judgment. Social media, however, is another ballgame. Ballgame is an idiomatic expression meaning an entirely different situation. This sentence contrasts uncontrolled social media with regulated mainstream outlets. Even if you don't use it, you know by now that anything and everything goes with no accountability. This sentence means social platforms allow unlimited content without editorial checks. I just came across an account on X abusing Maryam Nawaz for bearing the Punjab college rape case. Abusing here means insulting or harassing verbally. This sentence illustrates how misinformation spreads on social platforms. I thought that story had been debunked a long time ago, but people live in their own realities. Debunked is a verb meaning proven false. Live in their own realities is an idiomatic phrase suggesting people believe misinformation despite evidence. This sentence laments the persistence of false narratives online. Most of us, however, live in a weird place where voices and issues are muzzled on the mainstream, and it's hard to make sense on social media because there is so much disinformation and misinformation. Muzzled is a verb meaning silenced or restrained. Disinformation and misinformation are jargon terms for deliberately false content and unintentionally false content, respectively. This sentence highlights the tension between censored broadcast media and chaotic social media. It is with this in mind that I followed the case of the Balak couple murdered in an honor killing. Honor killing is a term for murders committed to restore perceived family honor. This sentence introduces the specific case, illustrating the broader media phenomenon. In fact, it is gender-based murder. This sentence reframes honor killing explicitly as GBV, underscoring its severity. The Sustainable Social Development Organization recorded at least 32,000 cases of gender-based violence last year, including 547 instances of honor killings, of which 32 were reported in Balochistan. Instances is a noun meaning occurrences or cases. This sentence provides sobering statistics on GBV in Pakistan. Of that, one resulted in a conviction. This sentence means that legal accountability for honor killings in Balochistan is minimal. This most recent case, allegedly from May, is a good example of the viral factor on social media and how it propelled the incident to dominate conversation across all platforms. Viral factor is a term describing rapid spread of content online. This sentence explains how the case gained national attention only because of circulating video proof. It also got the government to take action. This sentence means official response was triggered by public outcry. We can safely assume that had there been no video, perhaps there'd be no action or chance of consequences. This sentence suggests accountability depends on visual evidence in today's media climate. Social media was filled with "this isn't you's" commentary on social media. "This isn't us" is an idiomatic phrase expressing collective denial or distancing. This sentence describes how people deflected responsibility by claiming the crime didn't reflect their community. Who then is it? This rhetorical question challenges the deflection of blame. This othering of communities is another form of denial, as is the rush to absolve the state, or condemn the Jirga system, or paint all Balak as backward or BLA sympathizers. Othering is a sociological term meaning portraying a group as fundamentally different and inferior. Absolve is a verb meaning to free from blame. Jirga system is jargon for traditional tribal councils in Pakistan. BLO, Balak Liberation Army, sympathizers refers to supporters of an insurgent group. This sentence argues that scapegoating communities prevents confronting systemic issues. I was most disturbed by a strange romanticism around the woman's murder being framed as she chose to die for love. Romanticism is a noun meaning idealization. This sentence criticizes trivializing the murder as a noble sacrifice. One woman journalist tweeted she embraced death with dignity. This sentence shows how commentary sensationalized the crime. I was flabbergasted. Flabbergasted is an adjective meaning astonished or shocked. This sentence conveys the author's disbelief at the commentary. There was nothing dignified about this incident. This sentence rejects any glorification of the violence. It's impossible to watch everything, so I don't know who else did this. But I appreciated Talat Hussein asking Balochistan's chief minister why he outed the couple as unmarried in his press conference. Outed is a slang verb meaning publicly revealed. This sentence praises tough journalistic questioning of victim-blaming tactics. "Aren't you sort of justifying their murder by adding a morality element to it?" he asked. Justifying is a verb meaning to provide a reason or excuse. This sentence highlights how moralizing personal relationships can excuse violence. He pressed harder. This sentence indicates persistent, incisive questioning. He even asked why Sofraz Bugti was addressing the head of the tribe, arrested for his alleged role in the crime as Sardar Sahab. Sardar Sahab is an honorific combining leader and sir, showing respect. This sentence shows how deference to tribal figures can perpetuate injustice. I appreciated this line of questioning because it is our job to ask tough questions so that audiences are better informed. This sentence underscores the role of journalism in accountability. But not everyone was critical of the chief minister and agreed that he described the couple's relationship only to sift fact from fiction. The sift fact from fiction is an idiomatic expression meaning to distinguish truth from lies. This sentence notes some defended the CM's framing as due diligence. I disagree. This sentence signals the author's rebuttal. I think it's a conscious crafting of a campaign to discredit the couple as immoral, making it easier for society to distance themselves from an adulterous couple. Conscious crafting is a phrase meaning deliberate creation. This sentence argues that narrative control was used to justify the murder. On the day of writing, the woman's mother was seen on TV agreeing with the Jirga's decision to order her daughter's murder. This sentence describes how victim blaming extends even within families under community pressure. You already know which way the road is being paved for the accused. Paved is a metaphor meaning prepared or made ready. This sentence warns that the accused are set for impunity. This is the cumulative media effect, Talat reminded me. Cumulative media effect refers to the aggregate influence of repeated messaging over time. This sentence introduces the concept explaining how consistent coverage shapes public opinion. It refers to repeated exposure to messaging in the media and how it creates a lasting impact on society, shaping our attitudes. This sentence defines the cumulative media effect. It explains the knee-jerk reaction to "this isn't us" because we've been fed a hogwash of misogyny posing as our culture. Knee-jerk reaction is an idiomatic expression meaning an automatic, unreflective response. Hogwash is slang, meaning nonsense. This sentence argues that ingrained sexist narratives provoke reflexive denial. This is how things have long been done. The sentence suggests a historical pattern of victim blaming. It's a cycle of indignation. Why was the woman on the motorway at 2 a.m.? Why was the victim living with her murderer? Etc., followed by a cleverly crafted campaign to sway public opinion against the victims. Cycle of indignation is a figurative phrase meaning repeated moral outrage. Sway public opinion is a phrase meaning influence mass attitudes. This sentence describes the typical pattern of justifying violence through moral panic. This is how patriarchy tightens its grip on society. Patriarchy is a sociological term meaning a system where men hold primary power. This sentence argues that such narratives reinforce male dominance. Its allies, the state, the Sardars, the religious parties, are only too happy to help because they get to consolidate power. Sardars is a term for tribal chiefs. Consolidate power is a phrase meaning to strengthen authority. This sentence identifies key institutions that benefit from maintaining the status quo. Good journalism should, in theory, lay bare the power dynamics that have long existed in Pakistan. This sentence asserts the ideal role of journalism in exposing structural inequities. Why does the jirga system still exist? Or another way to frame the question is, why hasn't the judiciary been allowed to function, let alone work, and not just in Balochistan? Frame the question as a phrase meaning to present an issue in a certain way. This sentence challenges why formal legal mechanisms are sidelined in favor of informal systems. Why can't we develop mechanisms that address an epidemic of GBV and sexual abuse, especially of children? This sentence calls for systemic solutions to eradicate pervasive violence. It requires all stakeholders to accept and shout from the rooftops that this is not our culture. Stakeholders is a term meaning those with an interest or investment in an issue. Shout from the rooftops is an idiomatic expression meaning to proclaim loudly. This sentence urges unified public condemnation of GBV as contrary to true cultural values. And if it is, it must be shed. This sentence insists that any harmful traditions be discarded. The writer is an instructor of journalism. X at Letting Lady, published in Dawn, July 27, 2025.